Now let's welcome this evening's escorts, Jeremy Williams and David Kendall Houston of the Chicago West Community Music Center. And now, please join us in welcoming the history makers of 2003 that are here with us this evening. Chicago educator and human resources administrator, Dr. Carol Adams. Owner of one of the nation's fastest growing consulting firms, DC-based Knowlton Atterbury. Judge and founder of the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, the Honorable D'Army Bailey. Educator, consultant, Dr. Sherman Beverly. Civic activist and organizer, Amy Tate Billingsley. First African-American president of the Chicago Bar Association, Chester Blair. Chicago telecommunications entrepreneur, William Bonaparte Jr. Educator, author, and former chancellor of the City Colleges of Chicago, Dr. Nelvia Brady. Historian and head of the Chicago Historical Society, Lonnie Bunch. Civic and religious leader, Dr. Ivor Carruthers. The cultural icon of Memphis, Ms. Irma Clanton. Seventh Circuit Federal District Court Judge, the Honorable David Corr. Former Alderman of Chicago's 8th Ward and Illinois Appellate Court Judge, the Honorable William Cousins, Jr. Dancer and fitness guru, Mildred Cruzat. President of Chicago State University, Dr. Eleanor Daniel. Noted educator and senior executive, U.S. Government, Dr. Richard Fairley. D.C.-based business and tax consultant, H. Marilee Fauché. Former Chicago Alderman and Finance Committee Chair, Wilson Frost. Former head of the Cook County Defender Office, Rita Elise Fry. Famed activist, poet, and spoken word artist, Nikki Giovanni. Nationally known visual artist, Paul Goodnight. Investment banker and the oldest of the famed Little Rock Nine, Ernest G. Green. The former mayor of Gary, Indiana, the Honorable Richard Hatcher. Educator and daughter of Olympic track star Jesse Owens, Gloria Hemphill. Archivist, historian, and National Archives and Records Administrator, Dr. Walter Hill. DC photographer, Jason McCullough Johnson. Real estate management company owner, Ms. Geraldine Lambert. Former Iceman, union organizer, and the oldest recorded history maker at 103 years old and going strong, Junius Red Gayton. First woman elected to the Chicago City Council, Chicago Alderman Anna Langford. 87-year-old beloved yoga instructor, Ms. Becky Love. Corporate and foundation executive and Chicago business leader, William Lowry. Musician and Seventh Circuit Federal District Court Judge, the Honorable Blanche Manning. Newspaper columnist and political commentator, Mr. Salim Muwakil. Former president of Bowie State University and advocate for historically black colleges and universities, Dr. Samuel L. Myers. Vice chairman of South Shore Bank Corporation and former presidential appointee, Mr. Bob Nash. Former head of the Chicago YWCA and civic leader, Ms. Audrey R. Peoples. Playwright and poet, Mr. Eugenie Eugene Perkins. 94-year-old Negro Baseball League player, Charles Johnson. Madeline Grab, fine arts consultant, jewelry designer. Civic Leader Foundation head and also Jesse Owens' daughter, Mrs. Marlene Rankin. Former Chicago native, Reverend Marion Roddy Hart. Chicago civic leader, volunteer, and fundraiser, Mrs. Dorothy Runner. Former 6th Ward Alderman and Chicago Mayor, Eugene Sawyer. Advertising executive and husband of Marlene Rankin, Mr. Stuart Rankin. Movie theater owners and Chicago business couple, Mrs. Elisa Starks and her husband, Donzel Starks. Veteran aviator, meteorologist, musician, and television producer, Mr. Jim Tillman. Chicago radio personality and actress, Ms. LaDonna Tittle. Chancellor of the City Colleges of Chicago, Dr. Wayne Watson. Photographer, freelance photographer, Eric Warner. Civil rights and criminal defense lawyer, Mr. Standish E. Willis. National president of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Ms. Linda White. Art collector and granddaughter of Hiram Revels, the nation's first black U.S. senator, Ms. Susan Caton Woodson. Well-known gospel conductor, Dr. Robert Gene Wooten. Music producer, Don Porter. And ladies and gentlemen, truly a legend in her own time, civil rights pioneer and head of the National Council of Negro Women, a legend in her own time and author of Open Wide the Freedom Gates, Dr. Dorothy Height. Piano, C-Red James Wheeler, blues musician. Good evening, I'm Richard Steele and I'm your MC for the evening. As many of you know, I've been a radio personality for a long time and music is a major part of my life. Tonight, we've come to salute the King of the Blues. But first, we need to acknowledge those who've made this evening possible, tonight's honorary co-chairs. Star of stage and screen, Ms. Lynn Whitfield. And along with Ms. Lynn Whitfield, Gary Seibert, Vice President, Midwest, and General Manager of the Palmer House Hilton. And unfortunately, a longtime supporter and Illinois State Senate President Emil Jones Jr. could not be with us this evening. Also, welcome this year's co-chairs, Patricia Andrews Keenan, Vice President of Communications for the Greater Chicago region for Comcast Corporation, Gregory Rush of Daimler Chrysler Corporation, and Sue and Tom Carey of Hawthorne Racetrack.
Good evening. We want to thank all of you for being here tonight. It has been a pleasure working with the History Makers staff, the benefit committee, and volunteers to make this evening a success. Thank you again.
Because of your support, the History Makers will be able to continue all its work. But we can't stop with tonight.
We encourage each and every one of you to spread the word about this very fine organization, and my husband and I are extremely proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much for coming.
My wife Susan said it all. I'm just thrilled to be here and support this program with every ounce that I have in my body. Thank you.
And thank you very much. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the president of Discover Bank, Ms. Kathy Roberts.
On behalf of Discover Financial Services, we'd like to say we are so very proud of the work of the History Makers. We congratulate the History Makers for taking this momentous task and for giving us the opportunity to help as the night's title sponsor. I'd like to bring to the stage the woman that started it all, founder and executive director of the History Makers, Ms. Julieanna Richardson.
Hold on. Good evening. Thank you. To show our appreciation to Discover, we'd like to present you with this award. And we really appreciate it because Discover is the largest title sponsor that we've ever had at $100,000. So we really appreciate it. Thank you. Tonight is so special in so many ways for me. I have friends and family here and lots of supporters, people who've come from Atlanta, Boston, and my original hometown, because Chicago is now my hometown, but my original hometown of Newark, Ohio. Tonight's event culminates 2 days of events and many months of planning. I have an excellent staff. We are blessed with wonderful volunteers and many people across the country who have helped us. Not only have they helped to make tonight possible, but we will end the year with 700 interviews, a priceless archive, the History Makers Education Institute, our Speakers Bureau, and a joint venture with Carnegie Mellon to archive in an easy-to-use system 400 of our interviews, making them accessible to libraries and schools around the country. More importantly, we are changing the public dialogue in this country, because for far too long, the African American community has been too silent about its history. And this has resulted, unfortunately, in the miseducation of America. But because of all of you who have told your stories, and you also who have supported us financially, the History Makers is preserving and promoting America's missing stories over the internet, on TV, over the radio, and in print, Thanks to all of you for all you do and continue to do. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Nicole Hawks, Project Manager for the HistoryMakers. I'd like to thank Jim Wood, President of the Art Institute of Chicago, Dan Schmidt of Network Chicago, Channel 11, and Belkis Santos. It has been my pleasure to work with all of you this past year, our volunteers, members, staff, and of course, our sponsors, all of whom have helped to make this night possible.
Good evening. I'm Amy Billingsley. As a history maker and as the regional coordinator for the Washington, D.C. area, I am proud to announce that we will end this year with a total of 150 interviews in our region alone.
I'm Cynthia Moreland, the regional coordinator for the Atlanta and Southwest region. It is our plan to equal or surpass the efforts made in the Washington, D.C. area. Additionally, we are excited to announce tonight that the HistoryMakers will present An Evening with Miss Diane Carroll in June 2004.
I'm Deborah Thomas, a National Advisory Board member and longtime supporter of the HistoryMakers. This year, I have the pleasure of sponsoring Zuri Campbell as a history maker. I want to challenge 300 of you in the audience tonight, that is less than a third of you, to commit to sponsoring a history maker. You can do so for only $200 a month. For more information, volunteers will be available in the lobby. We encourage you to sign up tonight. After all, if we do not get behind this initiative, who will?
Hi, I'm Sharon Morrow, also a National Advisory Board member and longtime supporter. It is our pleasure to announce that along with Amy Billingsley and Cynthia Moreland, we are establishing Friends of the HistoryMakers chapter right here in Chicago. If you would like to join our chapter or start one of your own in another city, please let me know tonight. Thank you.
I'm Mary Frances Fagan, Manager of Corporate Communications in Chicago for American Airlines. We have sponsored and supported the HistoryMakers since its inception, and because of our support, the HistoryMakers has logged thousands of miles. It has completed hundreds of interviews as the nation's largest airline. We look forward to our continued working relationship with HistoryMakers. The success of the HistoryMakers will go a long way in healing this nation's ongoing racial divide. Remember, ignorance is not always blissful.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce Gary Seibert, Vice President, Hilton Hotels Corporation, and General Manager of Chicago Palmer House Hilton. I'm Floyd Pitts, Senior Director, Diversity Programs for Hilton Hotels Corporation. Not only do I serve on the HistoryMakers National Advisory Board, but Hilton Hotels Corporation is the national hotel sponsor for the HistoryMakers. This is the third year of our commitment, and we appreciate the HistoryMakers acknowledging our support by designating one of our most esteemed Vice President, Gary Seibert, as one of the honorary co-chairs of this evening's event. Additionally, tonight we're proud to announce that Hilton Hotels Corporation will be sponsoring salutes to HistoryMakers around the United States during 2004. We'll start here in Chicago on March 13th with the Palmer House Hilton hosting the first of these salutes. We plan to do this in grand fashion, as is Hilton's heritage. Thank you.
My name is Crystal Foster, Project Director of the HistoryMakers. I've worked with the HistoryMakers from the beginning and spoken with so many of you, and I'm often told that many of you asked for me. Well, here I am. And working with you has been my pleasure. As a young African American, I've learned so much from all of you. Thank you.
Good evening, and what a wonderful evening it is. I'm William Smith, President and CEO of PView Incorporated, Pupil of the Eye, Vision for Unity in Education. I'm also founder of the Day of Honor Project, which was enacted by the historic joint resolution of the United States Congress in 2000. The Day of Honor included documenting the untold stories of African American World War II veterans. These interviews resulted in an award-winning documentary film, The Invisible Soldiers' Unheard Voices. Tonight, it is my privilege and pleasure to announce and to honor this event this evening. Our donation to the HistoryMakers archives all of our original interviews and tapes from that film. This number will increase your holdings to 760. We hope that others will join and follow our example and help in building this most important national archive. Thank you.
Well, Scott, I guess it's our turn. You know, we put in a lot of miles this year, traveling all over the United States. In fact, every other place besides Chicago has been our home.
That's right. It's good to be home finally, and to recognize some of the people that we've met with while we've been out on the road. And we're very appreciative that you've allowed us into your homes and offices and opened our eyes, educated us, and allowed us to capture the richness of your lives. Thank you.
Okay. Now, on a recent trip to Memphis this summer, we were given one special assignment by Julieanna Richardson, and that was to deliver Isaac Hayes. And if you've never worked for Julieanna Richardson, you don't know what that means, but so we had to deliver Isaac Hayes, and well, there's no can't or I can't do it. We had to do it, and we did it. We delivered Isaac Hayes.
Well, Chicago, he was born in the rural South in a sharecropper's family. He began singing in church at the age of 5. His soundtrack for the movie Shaft was The Thing of Legends. His popularity endures as the character Chef on Comedy Central's South Park. He has in recent years been crowned a Ghanaian king, but his roots are squarely here. And tonight, he's brought Memphis to Chicago. Please, let's welcome, with a big round of applause, the enduring R&B legend, Mr. Isaac Hayes.